Let me explain to you how your gut can affect your brain and how your brain can affect your gut and what you can do to improve your gut health and your brain health at the same time. See, what happens is that when there is problems in your gut, when there's inflammation, that inflammation goes everywhere, including your brain. And when your brain is inflamed, it's not happy. What symptoms will you have? You may feel anxious, depressed, tired, brain fog. You just don't feel well. You don't know why, you just don't feel well. The other way it works too. If you're too anxious, or if you're stressed out a lot, or if you have a poor diet because of the things you decide with your brain, that affects the motility of the GI tract. And that in turn affects what kind of bacteria live or die in your gut. And that in turn affects whether or not there is inflammation, which then affects your brain again. So it's a bidirectional loop. So what happens when you eat food anyway? See, the food goes from your mouth to your stomach, where the digestion begins. When it goes to your intestine, there you have some bacteria that help with the digestion process. In fact, there are trillions of microbes, bacteria, fungi, viruses, a whole bunch of microbes, a whole community of microbes. There are more DNA in the gut bacteria and other microbes than there are DNA in your own body. So there is a issue that's going on. There are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. The good bacteria are nice guys. They produce these things called small chain fatty acids. These small molecules are actually good for the health of the gut. It turns out that when they go to blood and go to the brain, they help the brain. They help brain make new cells. They improve memory. It's amazing. Some stuff made by the bacteria in your gut help to have more neurons in your brain. Who would have thought of that? But they're also bad guys. The bad bacteria are mean and make toxins. These toxins cause inflammation in the lining of the gut. The lining of the gut, what holds the feces from your blood, is very thin. It's one cell layer, epithelial cells. And so when these bad guys make inflammation, it can cause leakage in that membrane. And as a result of that problem, the bad stuff, the sewage, gets in your blood. And I tell you, you wouldn't want that stuff to go everywhere, including your brain. That's called leaky gut, leaky brain, because they can affect the lining of the blood vessels in the brain as well. So bad stuff. It's called dysbiosis when you have imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. If the bad bacteria win, you have inflammation, leaky gut, and stuff in your brain. And if the good bacteria win, you feel good because the good bacteria produce small chain fatty acids, which in addition to improving your brain health, they also reduce your appetite, they increase your chance of not having diabetes and so forth. So why would you get an imbalance of good guys and bad guys? What things can make the bad guys win over the good guys? Guess what? Poor diet. If you eat a lot of trans fat and junk food, that's the kind of food the bad bacteria like, so they win over. Number two, if you have stress and anxiety, that can affect the motility of the GI tract. And when that happens, that environment is more suitable for the bad guys. Number three, if you have obesity, and that's really bad too. And number four, if you have poor sleep. Exactly how poor sleep affects your GI tract and the imbalance of a good and bad bacteria, we don't know yet, but just know it happens. So, these were all the bad news. What are the ways you could do to improve the health of your gut and therefore the health of your brain? What can you do to make good bacteria win over the bad bacteria? You can think of your gut as a garden, and there are things you could do to nourish your garden and make it very beautiful. Number one, you want to eat a high fiber diet. These are called prebiotics. See, the fiber is what the good bacteria like more than the bad bacteria. And when you have high fiber, it increases motility and it increases the number of good bacteria. So what are things that are high fiber? Garlic, banana, wheat, but in general, fruits and vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds. These things improve the motility of the GI tract and the growth of good bacteria or bad bacteria. Another thing to do is to take live bacteria in the form of yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi. You don't need to buy expensive probiotic supplements. If you can get it from natural sources, why go buy it from the box? I do not recommend buying supplements that are probiotics and prebiotics, which we don't know which bacteria are good for you. There are millions of them. So the 20 or 50 that they choose is only part of the whole community of the bacteria. It's better to do natural things which will help overall health of the gut and elsewhere. Next thing you want to do is to reduce the stress. If the stress is bad for you, then don't do it, and it's easier said than done. But if you realize that stress is bad for your gut and your brain, think twice before you get angry in traffic or you get angry with your spouse or family members. Finally, I think it's good for you to exercise, because exercise increases the motility of the GI tract, increases blood supply to your gut, and that's good for overall gut health. It turns out that everything I just told you is also directly good for your brain. A good diet is good for your brain, exercise is good for the brain, reducing stress is good for the brain. So you win. It's a win-win situation. Your gut is better, your brain is better, and they both make each other brain. So I recommend that you play an active role in growing the garden in your guts and making your brain sharper by doing the simple things I just said. Good luck to you.